right, welcome to the lesson on osteopathy. We will be talking about something very important, that being the integrity of our physical structure and how that relates back to our health. Physical, mental, and emotional health, all of it. So I want to start with an analogy that I've learned from some of my favorite mentors, and that is that the body is like a car. And it very much is this vehicle for our mind or for our soul, you could say. But we know that we want to give our cars good fuel, right? You give your car good fuel, it's going to run better and it's going to last longer. And the fuel would be the food we're eating, the quality of the food, the quality of the water we're drinking, that's important too. But the catch here is that you can give your car perfect fuel, but if it's not aligned properly, it's not going to run properly. So in other words, you can give your car the perfect fuel, but if there's structural damage or if the main frame is bent out of shape a bit or if it's just off-kiltered, you put it on the road, it's going to wear and tear much faster than it normally would, and eventually it'll break down, and probably much sooner than you'd think. So we're going to expand on that in today's lesson, and in my opinion, it is the osteopaths who are the master mechanics of the body. So let's jump into this. Most people have heard of chiropractors, but fewer know about something deeper, something called osteopathy. Now, osteopathy was created in the late 1800s, or the late teen hundreds, as I like to say, by Dr. Andrew Taylor Still. This is him off to the left, here to the right. Now, Dr. Still knew that the body was built to heal itself, and he developed a system centered around that very fact. The osteopath honors the intelligence of the human body. They are trained to help unlock and activate what's already within all of us. Now, there are four main principles to osteopathy. Number one, the body is a unit. This principle emphasizes that the body functions as an integrated whole, with each part connected and influencing the others. Principle number two, the body possesses self-regulatory mechanisms. Osteopathy recognizes the body's inherent ability to heal and maintain health through self-healing and self-regulatory mechanisms. Beautiful. Principle three, structure and function are interrelated. This principle highlights the close relationship between the body's anatomy and its physiology, or in other words, the body's structure and the body's function. So problems in one area can affect the other. This is huge. I want to take a second to talk about this. I'm reading a book right now that's written by an osteopath, a brilliant one, by the name of Dr. Robert Fulford. And he talked about a lot of patients who would come in to see him complained about pain in the chest, pain in the heart, okay? And the doctors who would see these patients before they went to go see the osteopath, Dr. Robert Fulford, they would tell these people with the pain in their chest that, yes, it's most likely that you have something wrong with the heart. You know, they're looking for issues in the heart and they're not seeing anything. But that's where the pain is, so they're looking where the pain is. And then quickly after Robert Fulford would put his hands on these people and assess their structure, he would come to find out that there tended to be injury or insult to the cervical spine up here near the neck, and that would cause the vagus nerve, one of the cranial nerves, to be pinched or compressed, which ultimately just interfered with the flow, the nerve flow and blood flow through the body in that area, which essentially kind of cuts off life force to the heart, cuts off nutrients. And so it's a testament to how damage to the physical structure or just even to the bones changes, again, the function of everything around it, causes circulation and fluids to be halted, creates a stagnation. So remember this, pain is a liar. You see pain in a certain part of the body, do not assume that that's where it comes from. So jumping back to the principles. Principle number four is that rational treatment is based on these principles. In other words, osteopathic treatment is guided by these principles, aiming to restore balance and promote healing by addressing the underlying causes of dysfunction rather than just treating symptoms. Beautiful stuff. This is how I would want medicine to be, or treatments or healing to be. Now, in this slide, I want to make it clear I'm not knocking chiropractors, okay? We need chiropractors and we need osteopaths. There's some differences and there's some similarities. But there is a particular difference that I'm going to highlight, which is why I'm sort of juxtaposing them right now. And that is that there is a sort of aggressive nature sometimes to the adjustments that you can get from a chiropractor. They can be kind of bone rattling or bone popping, right? And so the thing I love about osteopathy is that they're trained to do gentle but powerful and precise manipulations on the body. Chiropractors and osteopaths, both body workers, but I'm especially drawn to the principles and philosophy behind osteopathy and the fact that they have a no-risk approach because they're working gently on the body. And they, in my opinion, they can be just as effective, if not more effective, than a chiropractor. To me, it's beautiful stuff. And again, hope to not frustrate or anger any chiropractors that may watch this at some point. We need both of you. There's brilliant chiropractors out there doing amazing work, just as there are osteopaths. So, let us keep going. Now, again, structure and function, so important. They are connected. If something is even just a little out of place, it can affect the blood flow around that area, the nerves, which ultimately can affect sleep or digestion or even your mood. So this is how physical structure can be related to emotions. Dr. Robert Fulford, in that book I was talking about earlier, he mentioned a case where he had a young boy come to see him, and this boy, everyone thought he had psychological issues, mental problems. And as soon as Robert worked on him, he discovered that this boy's skull was very tight. So this could have been a result of the birthing process or some type of accident. And so once he did a little bit of work to open up his cranial mechanism, sure enough, more blood flow to the brain, more nourishment for the brain. This ultimately created a sense of peace, calmness, and coherence in that boy. And I believe his mother wrote to Robert not long after that saying that, you know, what did you do? This is not the same boy. And essentially the psychological or mental disturbances went away. So another beautiful example of how structure and function are interrelated. Now, we're going to talk about a special branch of osteopathy called craniosacral therapy, and it was developed by the late William Sutherland. Now, craniosacral therapy works with the gentle rhythm of the cerebral spinal fluid, which flows up and down your spine between the sacrum and the brain. Now, I don't want to get too deep down the rabbit hole with this, but it's important to mention that everything in the body is moving, okay? Even the bones. We're sort of taught that the bones are locked in place and rigid. This is not the case. Even the skull has a subtle expansion and contraction movement to it. There's membranes around the entire nervous system that have that little subtle pulse. There's a fluid called the cerebral spinal fluid that pulses from the sacrum all the way up to the brain and back down. It is that fluid that nourishes the nervous system, nourishes our brain, so there's a very healing component to it. And when we get injured, whether physically or emotionally, it can be from traumatic experiences where your breath gets locked up and you're going through grief, whatever it might be, that can cause that cerebral spinal fluid to stop or to be sort of messed with or interfered with, which cuts off the healing capacity of the body. So the craniosacral therapist works on restoring the flow of that cerebral spinal fluid. So the rhythm of the cerebral spinal fluid has been studied and mapped, and we know that it helps regulate your entire nervous system. And the rhythm and strength of that pulse of that spinal fluid is a testament to someone's vitality. So again, when you're stressed, injured, or stuck emotionally, this rhythm can get disturbed. A craniosacral therapist uses light touch to help your body reconnect with that rhythm and return to a calm, healing state. This type of work has powerful effects on the nervous system and on the body as a whole. So, good to remember, excellent for regulating the nervous system. Let's quickly talk about John Upledger. He took the work of William Sutherland. He was a student of William Sutherland, and then he furthered this work and he made some excellent discoveries himself. And ultimately, he created the Upledger Institute, which is where you can find craniosacral therapists in your area. Hint, hint, do it soon. Here we have a picture of John Upledger working on an infant. Now, why would he be working on an infant? I'll give you a quick understanding as to why. The birthing process can be traumatic for many different reasons. It can be on the mother, it can be on the baby. But it can also be beautiful and smooth experience too. But there's a lot of potential for issues. So let's say a baby is a forceps delivery, or they're yanked out, or the cord was wrapped around their neck, or they're a C-section. There's different things that can happen that can cause the baby's structure right out the gate to kind of distort a little bit in a way that we wouldn't want it to. So if you were to get that infant to an osteopath within the first few weeks of that birth, they can realign the structure immediately, which can do wonders for that baby down the road. So, and again, it's one of those treatments that is so gentle that it can be done on an infant. How beautiful is that? So moving forward now, we have John Pierre Barral, who was another osteopath who developed the visceral manipulation technique, another offshoot within osteopathy. This works on the organs, restoring flow and the motility of the organs. It's great for scar tissue if you've had surgeries. So again, this is all gentle work. None of it is intense or aggressive. Here is the man I was talking about, Dr. Robert Fulford. Here he is working on a child. Touch of Life. This is the book I'm actually reading right now. One thing I do want to mention that's just coming to mind is that someone like Robert Fulford, in his book, I remember he mentioned, and this is the humility as well as the wisdom to recognize this, but he mentioned how he's not healing anyone, right? All he's doing is putting his hands on the structure of the body and manipulating it in a way that helps free up blockages. And then once that can happen, the body takes over and heals itself. So he recognizes that the body has the self-healing mechanism already. He's just helping to reestablish the conditions that the body needs to take over and heal. So beautiful stuff. And to kind of top it all off, a few more names. Guys, it goes so deep. There's so many offshoots. There's biodynamics, Hugh Milne with the visionary craniosacral, Tom Shaver, bioenergetic. Definitely not going to get into all of it now. But just to recap, osteopathy, craniosacral therapy, they do not override the body. They support it. They don't use force from the outside to try and correct the issue, but rather they carefully nudge the body back in the right direction so that the body can do what it was designed to do. They help clear the blockages and realign the system. Thank goodness for the osteopaths. So, hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next. If you have any questions, reach out to me or jump on that clarity call with me. Take care.